Hey guys, Scott here,
And Lila here.
and we just wanted to talk today about tracking results and monitoring progress. So we're just going to do a quick Blitz interview as always, so you go first.
Okay, so what should you be tracking if you want to achieve especially weight loss results?
Yeah, I mean in terms of weight loss, the main thing to be tracking is caloric intake. Weight loss is all about energy balance, it's all about maintaining a consistent and modest caloric deficit. So you don't want to get fixated or hung up on foods and calories, but I always say that if it's not measured, it can't be managed. And if
He
you're
always says.
and if you don't know what you're consuming, you don't know whether you're in a surplus, you don't know whether you're in a deficit, you don't know whether the deficit's too extreme and you're going to risk metabolic adaptation. So it's not a life sentence, but definitely if you're looking to achieve weight loss and you're just starting out, then track your calories, aim for a 15 to 20% caloric deficit of your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure, and then you'll lose weight at a nice healthy pace, not too extreme, but yeah, you'll never be able to guesstimate that unless you track.
Yeah,
So it's worth it.
and to summarize this, it's like if you're in deficit, you lose weight. If you are in surplus, you gain weight. If you have same amount, you are
Maintenance
maintaining.
calories, you stay the
So
same.
it's actually can be super difficult, but on the other hand, it's super simple. Deficit, losing weight, surplus, gaining weight. So that's why tracking and knowing where you are is important, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, your question.
Okay, something I get a lot of from clients and questions from people. What would you say if I was to say to you, I've tried tracking calories, I've tried tracking macros, but I've become obsessed with it and it gives me an unhealthy relationship with food. How would you advise someone to overcome that?
Yes, very good question because I definitely met a lot of, especially women, who get obsessed with calories and they don't see food, as a fuel, or as something what fulfills
To
you.
enjoy.
Yeah, it starts seeing numbers, like calorie numbers.
Start seeing it's the enemy, no?
Exactly. So I really, really don't want that to happen to anyone. So what would I advise is just to be not fixated on that. Just know that that's just for your educational reasons, that you know what food contains what amount of calories or macronutrients. As far as you learn that, you don't need to track every day because you will know that this portion of pasta and tofu contains at least approximately amount of calories. So you will know and you don't need to track every day. And you can enjoy your food regardless if you count or not. So just don't be fixated on that and educate yourself, and then later you can let go of that.
So it's not a life sentence, it's just
No,
a tool to help
just
us
a tool,
get
exactly.
us along the way.
Just to know where you are and where you stand. Just that's it. Just for yourself, not comparing. That's it. Just track for your own results, right? Because you want to achieve something, so that's why it's important. But other people trying to achieve different things, so don't compare because it can be very different.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Got
Okay.
anything else?
Yes. So, do people need to track macronutrients, or it's better to track just calories? And what else people can track? Maybe weight, maybe like all other like measures. Like what's important to be tracked?
Yeah, great question. I think we've touched on this with some other interviews, but just to clarify, macros are important. It's important to get the right amount of healthy fats. You need fibrous, complex, starchy carbs for fiber and for energy. We obviously need protein, particularly if we're training. But if you follow a varied, diverse, plant-based diet, again, another one of my favorite sayings is the macros will look after themselves. When I was younger, I had countless spreadsheets tracking every gram of protein, had to hit this target. I haven't tracked for years and I haven't seen any negative impact, no difference. In fact, quite the opposite. So to simplify, I don't recommend tracking macros. Make sure you're aware of, roughly the protein-dense plant-based foods, so you know where you're getting your protein. Be aware of macros, be mindful of them, but definitely don't track them. I think the only people that perhaps need to track macros is a very specific niche of person who's perhaps looking to get their body fat down to something ridiculous for a fitness competition, which is not the general population, and it's not a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah,
so that doesn't concern us.
Yeah,
so.
but in addition, again, for educational reasons, you can track it if you want. If you don't know anything about macronutrients, and if you don't know what food consists of what macronutrients, then it's beneficial to track it, because you will learn about nutrition, and you will educate yourself. So for me, tracking is educating, literally. As far as I already aware what happens with my diet, I don't need to count or track anything, particularly macros. But if I don't know anything and I want to know and do my own research, then I will track.
Yeah, and another really good thing to track is food types and micronutrients. I think we've mentioned before, one of our favourite plant-based authors, Dr. Michael Greger, wrote a fantastic book, How Not to Die, which is great, really recommend it, based all on science fact, not science fiction, all real life studies about how foods prevent and contribute towards disease. So that's a really good book. He's also got a resource, non-for-profit resource called nutritionfacts.org, which has got loads of really helpful information on. But there's it's also got an app, which is basically, he's got what he calls his daily dozen, Dr. Greger's daily dozen, which is the 12 foods he recommends consuming on a daily basis. And the app's free, really user-friendly. You basically check off your daily dozen, and yeah, it's really fulfilling just to fill out those check boxes throughout the day. So that's something I would recommend tracking. Other than that, body measurements, it's really good for tracking. Weight, again, every so often, just to make sure you're going in the right direction, but don't become fixated on it. They're the main things I'd recommend.
Yes, and another thing to track, but I would say your mood, your energy levels.
These are the most important. How you're feeling.
How you're feeling. Like check with yourself. Every morning you wake up and say, do I feel better today than yesterday? Or do I feel better today than 2 weeks ago? And if you implement healthy diet and training, usually the answer to those questions will be yes, and maybe scale not gonna go down as much as you want in that 1-2 weeks, but literally, honestly, truly ask, even journal every day to compare, because sometimes those little changes we don't take in consideration, and we should, because it's the most important thing. How do you feel,
So true.
So don't forget that, to track that.
Track your relationship with yourself, track
Exactly.
your relationship with others. I mean, that's why we're training and nourishing our bodies well at the end of the day. It's to live a healthy life, doing the things we love with the people we love. So let's keep focused on what's important, and yeah, not get too caught up on the little things.
Exactly. So hope it was helpful, and see you next time.
Thanks guys, see you next time.